Yes, what is up, everybody? Ginger Runner Live, episode number 108 tonight. A lot of stuff happened this last weekend in not just ultra running, but the running world in general. Eddie Izzard ran 27 marathons in 27 days, just incredible. Georgia Death Race happened this weekend. Checking a 50K happened this weekend. But we are talking specifically about the Georgia Death Race on tonight's show. I am joined by the top two female finishers, both golden ticket winners, Bethany Patterson and Maggie Guterl. I'm so excited to have them on the show tonight. Sit back, relax, grab your adult beverage if you have one, or your non-adult beverage if you would like to partake in that. Here we go. Ginger Runner Live. Let's start. Ginger Runner. Yes! Happy Monday! It is Monday. Welcome back, family, for a live Ginger Runner Live. That's all they are. They're always live. They're not pre-recorded. If you are watching live tonight, welcome. If you're watching for the first time, welcome. We have a great community that joins us every single Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific for this show. Tonight, I'm really excited because we have two fresh off their victories, or golden ticket grabbings. I'm off to a great start tonight, guys. Just amazing start. But my two guests tonight are fantastic ultra runners, and I'm really excited to hear how this race went down because I've heard about this race. The Georgia Death Race in Georgia is a notoriously difficult, like just awful, technical, steep, tons of climbing, tons of descent. So we have the first and second place female finishers for this race, both golden ticket holders. That is what we'll call them tonight. Bethany Patterson and Maggie Guterl. Here they are. Let's introduce Maggie first. Hi, Maggie. How are you? Good to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you, finally.
Yes, welcome to the show. Very excited to have you on. How are you feeling a couple days now removed?
I feel pretty good, besides being a little bit sore. I cannot complain.
I'm sure that's to be expected. And also joining us tonight, Bethany Patterson. Yay, Bethany!
Yay!
How are you? How are you feeling?
Kind of the same. Actually, today I feel pretty good, pretty normal, except for being sore. So.
Okay, that's good. I was expecting, I feel terrible. It was just, such a hard fight. I think we'll get to that, though.
No. Yes, that comes later.
Okay, good. So this race, the Georgia Death Race, some of you who are watching may be familiar with this race. I'm only familiar as an outsider. I've never been to the terrain. I've never been to the trails down there in Georgia, but I have many friends who have and have talked incessantly about how difficult it is. Run Bum and the crew that puts on this race, they put on a difficult one. So I want to start the show there, Bethany and Maggie. I would love to know, why did you choose to run the Georgia Death Race? And how did you train for it? Maggie, let's start with you.
I chose it because Georgia Death Race is on the East Coast, and it's a golden ticket qualifier. And I guess basically the terrain, it is challenging, and it's probably a little bit out of my element because I haven't done a ton of things with lots of climbing. But I think I was talking to Bethany about this before. I'm not going to go to a Lake Sonoma and place top 2. That's just, let's be real. I don't have that kind of speed. I've never run a sub 3. Maybe I could one day, but racing a lot of speedsters on some pretty smooth trails. So I felt like if I was going to have a chance at the golden ticket, it was going to be on a course like this. And it's on the East Coast.
And then for training, was there anything that you did specifically for this event compared to other races that you've run in the past?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I focused on hills. I knew that there was a lot of downhill too, and I think I've done Cayuga before, and it's my quads that get destroyed on the downhill. My coach is Michelle Yates, so I told her that was a concern of mine, and so she changed the plan around to be a lot of downhill stuff too. So I did a lot of downhill repeats and a lot of uphill over and over, even though we don't have anything there was climbs that were 3 miles. There was even a Jeep road that was 6 miles long
Yeah.
or something. It was just up. But, you know, whatever you have, you just go up and down it, whether it's 5 minutes, 15 minutes. There's always treadmill, too.
Got it. Now, Bethany, why did you choose the Georgia Death Race?
Well, so funny story. I actually signed up for it because another friend of mine was running it, and I'd heard about it. Some other people I knew had run it, and it sounds like my kind of course. It's steep, it's trails, it's hilly, it's technical, and that suits me fine. I'm kind of like Maggie. Fast road or fast trail I'm not that fast, so I needed something like this, and I actually signed up for it. Before I knew it was a golden ticket race, like a week or two before, I signed up and then saw that it was a golden ticket, and I was like, kind of like Maggie. There's one on the East Coast. You got to be kidding me! So it was crazy. I got chills. I was like, okay, well, I guess it's meant to be. I'm committed now. So. Yeah.
So this is a question that people are already asking in the chat room. Do you know why it's called the Georgia Death Race, and why would you ever want to sign up for a race that has the word death in it?
Oh, I think you just have to be on Rum Bum's Facebook page for like a minute to see that he likes that kind of thing. So it kind of appeals to me. That's not scary.
And he said the other option, his buddy, I think, suggested, let's call it Park to Park. Yeah. And he was like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And go ahead, Bethany.
No, I was just going to say, I think when I was first looking at it, I looked at the elevation profile, and I was like, wow, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. I had a couple close friends that I run with that had run it before, and I thought this is something I think I would like to do, right up my alley. So.
Yeah, and I'm always drawn personally to really tough races because they challenge you, right? They challenge you more than sometimes. I don't want to just put that blanket statement out there, but I really like a good challenging race. Is the Georgia Death Race a challenging race, and what makes it so? What makes this race stand out from other long distance East Coast trail races?
I'll let Bethany go first.
Okay. Oh man, the interesting thing. So last year, I read a lot of race reports before running this time, but last year they had to run it in the opposite direction. They had a lot of bad weather, a lot of rain, and so they weren't able to run on a long section of trail that we did. And it's kind of broken up into two halves. The first half is a lot of trails, a lot of steep up and down, and then that's my husband.
Little pop
awesome.
in.
That's my husband.
Cameo.
Yeah, ridiculous. So it's kind of broken up into two halves. The first half is steep and technical, and then the second half is running. Last year they did it opposite, so they kind of killed themselves on all the roads and then had all the climbs at the end. It is brutal. So I'll just tell you, to get to 35 miles, it took me around 8 hours for 35 miles. And that was working really hard. I mean, it was intense. I think Maggie would agree. It was brutal. It was brutal.
Yeah, we were like, oh, we thought we'd be done before midnight. Let's plan. Our crews are going to be out there, so like 1 or 2 waiting for us at least.
Yeah.
Thought it was going to take a lot longer. I mean, I knew the second part was supposed to be a lot of downhill, but...
Yeah.
But still...
Just relentless. Constant relentless.
Relentless. I think the first half had no flat. It was, you were either going up steep uphills or steep downhills.
And does it get super technical as well? I mean, do the Georgia trails really rep with like roots and rocks and all sorts of nasty stuff?
I didn't think so. I don't know if Maggie would agree. It was just, it was steep. You just couldn't really, I mean, even the downhill, you kind of had to balance yourself because it was really steep. So you couldn't get into a groove.
The most technical part was at the very end, which
yes.
I was like
mile.
I was like, I might catch her. I'm like, I didn't know if she was, because I kept seeing Dom and JB as well, and then like, you know, they'd be like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I don't know. So like, I was like, oh, maybe I can, and then I hit this downhill, that rocky part after you go through the little parking area, and I was like, oh crap, like it was really rocky, and I was like, oh, she's good at this part, I know it. I actually heard, Dylan told me my crew guy, Dylan, said that he heard you did that last little loop part, that 4-mile loop that we had to do at the end, faster than the guy winner.
Are you kidding?
Damn.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I was walking. No, I was walking.
I don't know. That's what he said.
Well,
I think we heard that. I feel like the race. I feel like Sean told him that.
We'll have to look at Strava. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just compare on Strava.
Just look on Strava. Yeah.
I also I will do the shout out now. I was going to mention him later in the race, but I have to shout out Andrew Miller, of course, and Caleb Denton, the male first and second Golden Ticket winners as well. Andrew, for the second year in a row, won the Georgia Death Race. Really talented 19-year-old kid. Seen him race many, many times. But what I'm really curious about from you two, Bethany and Maggie, did you enter this race with the intention of going for the Western States Golden Ticket? Maggie, we'll start with you.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, I thought it was of any race that is a Golden Ticket race currently, I think that was my best shot. And again, it would be cool for some East Coast people to get it on the East Coast, and it's really. I feel like I thought, oh, that race is so different from Western States because Western States is obviously a hard course for a lot of reasons, but it doesn't have tons and tons of climbing. But now I'm hearing more about it, and now I'm really, really paying attention to what the course is like. Yeah. It might be sort of similar because it's that first 30-something miles is really tough, and then if you have any legs left towards the end, it's that rolling stuff that we were able to do because we ran smart.
We were able to run.
Yeah, just based off your descriptions, it sounds very similar to a Western States course in that there's lots of climbing, lots of descending, but not necessarily technical, all runnable.
I don't know if this is true either, but somebody told me that first climb in Western States, historically, whoever makes it to the top first is never the winner, I think. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard that too. Yeah, the escarpment, 3.5 or 4-ish miles, a good 2,500 or 3,000 foot climb. There's no reason to race to the top of that. Bethany, did you choose the death race as your Western States ticket? Were you anticipating winning the whole damn thing?
I don't know that I was trying to win necessarily. So I signed up, and then a week later they announced it was a Golden Ticket race, and I was like, all right, this is my only shot. Again, I'm not going to go to a Lake Sonoma or a fast Western course, and I won't even. I mean, Lake Sonoma, I probably would be top 20. So if there was going to be one race I was going to get in, it was going to be this one. It just seemed suited for me. The more I read about it, and the more I saw the descriptions and the elevation gain. I love climbing. I'm a much better climber than I am a fast runner. So it just seemed suited for me. Of course, I wanted to win. It was kind of a weird situation because usually you have a goal of, I want to be top 3 or something. And this one, it was kind of I'd like to win, but I want a ticket. If that means 2, fine. I don't even care. Which kind of changes the dynamic of what you're trying to do a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I can't believe it's taken me this long. We had a question in the chat room. What is a golden ticket? Great question. And I think I've dealt with it on the show. In episodes, I brought in other Golden Ticket winners. Yes, it gets you into the Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory, but that's the bonus. Western States Endurance Run, 100-mile run that takes place here in California, is the first 100-mile race ever to be created, and has a very difficult process of getting in the sense that they have a lottery, and it's very difficult to get in through the lottery. The percentage is extremely low, and you have to run a qualifying race to get into the race, or just even qualify to put your name into the lottery. But there are a handful of Golden Ticket races that are predetermined to have the difficulty and relation to Western States, where the winners, 2 top men and 2 top women, will get a Golden Ticket, which is an automatic entry into Western States. Lake Sonoma 50 is one of them. Georgia Death Race is another. Gorge 100K is another one of them. And these 2 women that are on the show tonight got the first and second place tickets at the Georgia Death Race this last weekend. So what I want to know now is how this race played out, because I know that this race had quite a strong field of females running. Jen Benna, I know that she's just a fantastic runner. She had some issues that played out, but I don't know how exactly they played out or how the strategy worked for you 2 ladies. So I would love to just know how this thing went down from the perspective of the racers. Bethany, we got to start with you.
Yeah, I'll go. So I'm typically I'm not a good I don't start races really well. I usually I've been running ultras for about 15 years now, and around the first like 5 to 10 miles, I always question why I'm still doing this. It's like never fun. I always feel terrible. And then usually as the race goes on, I feel better and it gets better. And so my strategy the whole time was, I'd never run against any of these ladies. I stalked them all on Ultra Sign Up and Facebook and Strava and all that good stuff. But you don't know how you run against other people. So
right.
I was just gonna take it conservative. I was hoping that everyone would destroy themselves on the first half, and then they wouldn't have anything left in the second half. But it turned out that Maggie and Jen and I kind of had the same. We were sort of going the same pace. We kind of stuck together for the first 30 or so miles, and then the girl that came in third, Sarah Warner, she just took off like a rabbit from the beginning. I mean, she was gone.
She was leading, right? Leading for most of the early stages.
I think at halfway, she had a 28-minute lead or something. I mean, she was every aid station we came in, she had gained like another 10 minutes, and it was we didn't know what to do because we didn't know her or anything, and so you have to decide: do you just not worry about it, or at some point, I mean, it was 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 28 minutes. So at some point, you're either going to try to catch her or you're not, and you just don't know how it's going to play out. So. Yeah, it got interesting about halfway, and the weird thing about this race is there's only 2 spots where you can see your crew, so you really don't have a lot of places to get updates. You don't have a constant feedback. So for me, as soon as I kind of pulled away from Jen and Maggie and was catching Sarah, I had no idea the rest of the race. I had no idea how far anyone was, ever, at all, until kind of the end. I think the last mile or so, I got an update that Maggie was about 10 minutes back. So, and that was it, like the last mile. So I had no idea the rest of the time.
Yeah, wait, did you find yourself? Oh, go ahead, Maggie.
I was gonna say, when you're running in first, then you don't know.
You don't know where
I knew where
is.
you were, sort of.
Yeah.
Because that's what was running behind you.
Yeah, Bethany, as when you took over the lead, did you just find yourself running for dear life, like running from those women behind you, or did you not even think about that and just focused on running your own race?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, and I don't think I really said this to Maggie or Jen or anyone, but I felt terrible the first 30 miles. I mean, I thought I was actually in my head trying to figure out how I'd rationalize not finishing the race, or how I was going to justify like coming in 10th or something. I felt terrible, and I kept waiting for it to get better and to feel better, and after like 20 miles, you're kind of thinking, well, maybe it's just not my day. And so I kind of had to try to figure out what that meant. Was I going to just have a bad attitude and give up or whatever? And then around mile 25 to 30, I started to come around. And it's very typical for me. This has happened to me in my last 2 to 3 races. And once there's a point, it's just, I think having run for so many years, you get that feeling you just settle in and you just run what you run. And I thought, okay, for this moment, I feel good. It could last for 5 minutes. It could last for an hour. It could be done in 2 minutes. I'm just going to go with it. And it wasn't like I'm going to run as hard as I can. I ran what felt good and hoped that it would last. So, yeah.
We have a special guest in the chat room, Andy Jones Wilkins. We've already talked about him in the pre-show.
Oh, no.
Bethany's coach. He was also at the race. He's a frequent guest of Ginger Runner Live. Andy, thank you for jumping into the chat room, but he has a question for you ladies, and this kind of dovetails with what you were just talking about there, Bethany. On the tactics of the race, how did you both feel when you found out at mile 28 that you were 28 minutes behind Sarah? What goes through your mind when you realize that you have a half hour, essentially?
We were with Jen at this point, all 3 of us, and we're like, listen, this girl's having the race of her life or she's going to blow up. And I was like, can any of us go chase her now? Is that even smart? We were like, we'll just run it. Just run. For real, that, if she kept that up, she ran a great race. If she kept that up, we were like, damn.
Yeah. She gained on us in a section that I thought would be one of my strengths, and every aid station, she had put more time on us. And so, like Maggie said, you can't really chase her down in that respect because she's running fantastic, and if you try to catch her, you're going to die. There was still at that point, 40-something miles in the race. So I think all of us kind of agreed, and we were being conservative, but I don't think we were just hanging back. So we figured either she has it and kudos to her, she deserves it, or she's going to come back. And then it was very quick. I think from mile 28 to, I don't know, 40, we come into the aid station, and all of a sudden she's only 4 minutes ahead. So you knew it was going to be one of the two.
And I'm really curious at this point. Are you working together? So Sarah's deep into the lead. You, Jenna, and Maggie are all kind of running together. Are you working together to gain on her, or are you just kind of, at this point, not even focusing on the racing aspect because you have so much race left? It's not a 60-miler. It's close to 68 or 70 miles, I believe, right? So you have a lot of race left.
Yeah.
We all wanted a ticket. So we came up with this scenario where we all tied for second and we finished holding hands and and it started pouring rain and I don't know, it was fun. We were just right now we're obviously racing, but the race doesn't really start yet. So
exactly.
I guess these girls have a lot of experience. They know I mean I feel like I've learned that patience, and I always usually approach races conservative like that, depending on what it calls for, but it just, I know it was a fun bunch of miles. Basically the first 35 are really hard, but it went by really quick when I look back on it, because it was just fun. We were kind of leapfrogging back and forth.
Yeah.
We were oh, we'll take turns being in second, and then Bethany's my turn, and she'll get ahead.
That wasn't
and
intentional.
Then I think,
Maggie, that was not intentional.
well, I was shit, I shouldn't have let. Oh, I cursed. I shouldn't have let that happen, because I think it started pouring rain, and me and Jen looked at each other. We're I think it's time for jackets, because it started to get cold. But Bethany skipped the jacket, and then she disappeared over the hill, and that was pretty much the last time I saw her for the rest of the
race. Look at this. Bethany's sad. I'm sorry.
I kind of did feel bad, because it was we really were. We kind of were, like Maggie was saying, we were jokingly trying to figure out. I think we were all kind of feeling the same. We were kind of running the same pace and felt really good, and thought, what a dilemma. What are they going to do at a golden ticket race if we all finish in second? That would be interesting, right? Which later AJW assured me they would not do. But anyway. So, can you guys still hear me? Okay, there I came back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we were kind of taking turns. And then, like Maggie said, the rain started coming down. But for me, it was really hot, the whole time. So the rain felt good, and I look around, everyone's putting their jackets on. I was like, I'm just going to keep going. And then that was really right when I actually started feeling good for the first time. And I got really excited. I was like, oh, I can climb without feeling like I'm about to die. And I turned around, and they were kind of at the bottom of the hill, and I thought, I'm just going to kind of do my thing. And I actually figured that they would catch up to me at some point. And it just didn't happen.
So
I started feeling crappy then.
Yeah.
I was going to say, is that when the two...
We flip-flop mojos. Yeah. I was oh, crap. And that's when I started to doubt everything. I was
yeah.
Then I lost Jen, and I was oh my gosh, this is not turning out so great.
Yeah. Well, that's how I felt the first 30, so.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay to swap back and forth as far as feeling good and feeling bad. But it also sounds like you guys made a really wonderful friendship. Had you raced before or met each other before the race?
No. We were messaging back and forth, before the race, just talking about our competition and whatever. I don't know what we started talking about, but yeah, and I was oh, this chick's pretty down to earth. She's cool.
Yeah.
Well, how dare you have fun in a race? How dare you? It just sounds like you guys were actually having a really good time out there. Maggie, I'm really curious.
No, it was brutal and awful.
It was terrible.
It was a death race. It was terrible. Maggie, I'm really curious now. So Bethany takes off. She begins to pull ahead. You're running with Jen at this point, or how did the race begin to play out for you? Because I feel like this is what I was following online with social media updates, just kind of going, well, what is happening? How is this? What is going on over there? So please, tell me what happened in the race.
I think it was, I forget when I lost Bethany over the hill, but Jen started to slow down a lot because of her quad. She had to keep stopping to kind of stretch it, and so then I felt okay, this is felt a little slower than I wanted to go. And I even said to Jen, I'm like, Jen, I don't like not being able to see her. So she's like, go ahead of me. And so I ran ahead, and then that's probably the last time I saw Jen. I think she came into aid station 47 as I was leaving, because I didn't turn around, but like AJW is yelling at me like, leave before she gets here, leave before she gets here. And I'm like, just running, sprinting. And I was like, So, yeah, I had started feeling pretty good after 47, because they said, I knew Bethany was probably running pretty strong, but I heard that Sarah was a lot closer than we were at aid station 28, which meant she was slowing down. So I was like, okay, maybe there's still a shot here. So that just like motivated me to run more, like a lot harder, because I knew I think it started to get more downhill after that.
Yeah.
Which, you know, can really hurt too, but it was actually kind of a nice break.
It was fun to be able to actually run.
To be able to run downhill.
Yeah. I remember
run that dirt. It was a paved road. There was a paved road, and I was like, well, this is my specialty, I guess, right? I'm supposed to be good.
I think that's where I think that's where you gained on me. I hated that road.
I liked it. The cows are just watching you run by.
I knew you would like that part. I thought, oh crap, she's like a good runner. I gotta do something on here. So yeah, I didn't enjoy that.
Andy Jones Wilkins again in the chat room. Since he was there, he had that spectator division to see placement and time gaps and stuff like that. He was saying that he saw you both at mile 47, which you just mentioned, Maggie, and that you were in second and third respectively, just behind Sarah. What was in your mind at that point when you left that aid station? Was I have to push, I have to pass Sarah or Bethany at that point, or were you just hanging on for dear life, or were you feeling really good at that point? We'll start with you, Maggie.
I was like, I'm gonna catch her. I knew there was too much race left, and I felt too good, and I knew that everyone, you know, they said that was the cruising section. It was just a lot of Jeep road, and I was like, I can do this. Like, I'm gonna catch her. It's just a matter of when. I don't care if it's the last mile, which would really suck, because that's really like, you know, I just knew. I didn't know if I was going to catch Bethany, but, like, I knew I could catch Sarah unless she came back to life big time, but I don't know. So I felt really good. That was awesome. And I didn't think we were going to reach 47 at, like before 6 o'clock?
Yeah.
Like that. I thought it was going to be close to dark by the time we got there. I was like, I didn't get to run so much more of it in daylight, because the course got so much faster, I guess, than the beginning part. So that was like, oh, man, this is amazing.
Nice. And what about you, Bethany? Leaving that aid station, was it just hunt?
Totally. So I don't like leading. I much prefer to like kind of hang back in the first half and then catch people, which is typically a lot of the guys that run the same races I do. It's kind of a running joke. They'll say, oh, okay, so you're here now. I wondered when you were going to catch me. It's kind of the typical thing, and so it's weird to be in the lead. And I felt really, really good at 47. But at the same time, at 47, it's not a 100K race. It's a 70-mile race. So you can't just kill yourself in the next 10 miles trying to catch her. But coming into that aid station, our crew was there. David Horton was there, and Andy was there as well. And so they had said, you know, from the last time they had an update till that point, we had gained 24 minutes. And I didn't feel like we were killing it. We were just cruising. So I thought, all right, unless she just has a better time, I'm going to catch her. So I wasn't trying to catch her. I was letting her come back to me. And I can't remember exactly where it was that I passed her. Would have been sooner, but that was also the time I started throwing up, which kind of delayed things a little bit. So, yeah, like I caught up to her in a trail section, and we started talking just a little bit, and she's like, okay, you can pass. And I'm like, no, that's okay. Hold on, I'll catch you in a little bit so I can go and throw up in the woods and then come back. Yeah. Which is
hardcore.
It was fun, yeah. But no, I felt really good. I mean, usually when I felt the way I did at that point, I'm in a really good spot. Like, I figure I can catch a lot of people at that time. So it was fun. Like Maggie said, you could really stretch your legs. It was I love downhills. I could run downhill like the whole day, and it was a lot of down. We had a really, really long, like a 4 or 5 mile downhill. It was fun, so I enjoyed that.
Nice. We have a great question in here as well from Mopro. This is a question for both Bethany and Maggie. When running these hardcore races, what is it? What is the mental attitude you attack the course with? Does the course break you down mentally, and how do you endure the physical pain? In this case, the Georgia Death Race, I imagine, is a very physically demanding course with all of the elevation change and the steep downhill. So how do you get out of those slumps, especially after running in a slump what sounds like 30 miles or so? Bethany, let's start with you.
Yeah. I mean, it's twofold. I think in any, in any ultra, you can't really think about, if you think about in the first mile how far you have to go, whether it's a 50K, 50 miles, whatever, it's going to be miserable. And then you start, and for us, I remember Jen made a comment at one point. She had looked at her watch and she's like, man, these miles are just going by really slow. And I mean, they were. I think the first 15 miles took us 3 hours, which is just insane. So if you think about it, it starts weighing on you. And I'd had a couple other races similar to that, and where I felt really bad and kind of slogged it out. And so I said, I kept thinking to myself, why am I here? What am I here to do? And it's a long race. I mean, you can, just like things can go downhill quickly, they can also turn around quickly. So just do what you're supposed to do. And you can't, I didn't know how Sarah had trained. I didn't know how anyone else would do. But I knew what I had done, and I knew what I could do if I had the chance. And so you just take it for what it is, and break it down in your head. And sometimes it's just thinking about getting to the next aid station and what do you need to do to get to that point, and go from there. And then a lot of times it gets better. You just, or you start running with someone and it takes your mind off of it. I used music in the second half, which really helped. Because I wasn't really, once I left the girls and kind of got through halfway, I don't think I ran with anybody for the rest of the race. I kind of saw some guys here and there, but I didn't run with anyone. So I just kind of get in a zone. I don't know. I like the long stuff. I feel like 50Ks and 50 milers are too quick and everybody runs too hard, and I feel like I'm going to die the whole time. So this is where I can settle in and walk some and kind of get my mojo going.
What about you, Maggie? How do you dig yourself out?
Yeah, I had like a quick low in the beginning half. I remember thinking like I just felt awful, and then I always think, okay, when's the last time you had any calories? So I did a gel, and I was like, oh, it was that. But then after I kind of like lost Bethany and Jen, it's kind of similar to what Bethany's mentality is, but I was like, listen, this is like the training you did. Like, I did like a body check. I'm like, there's literally nothing wrong with me. I just feel like I'm shitty like right now, and I'm in 4th place, and you know what? Like, do I want to finish, or do I want to am I going for top two or nothing? Like, my crew guy Dylan come out here just to have me quit at 47, because basically once you get past 47, you might as well just keep going. Otherwise, you're waiting at aid station probably. I was like, there was nothing wrong with me. I was just tired, So you just kind of have to think about why you're in the first place. And I was like, no, I'm going to get this. I really want this. Like, I'm not. It's just a temporary mental low. And then you can feel. I felt great the rest of the race. I usually hit one big major low, even in 24-hour races, like just a big major low, and then I don't usually dip back down again. Once you get over that hump, for me, it's not up and down. Like, I'll hit major low, then I'm good. So sometimes better when it comes in the beginning half or middle of the race. I'd rather that happen then than towards the end.
Yeah.
So, I liked the Jeep roads, and I liked the I thought the course was really cool just because there was a whole bunch of different like the Jeep roads. Like, we were just going up, and it was like dark by then, but you could see the moon, and like you can finally look around at your surroundings. Like, when we were in the mountains, it was really beautiful too, but you kind of had to like slow down and look around real quick to get in any views, and then you're just like, okay, back at it. Like, it's really nice to just kind of be aware of your surroundings.
There's some great photos and videos that came out of this race right at the finish line, where there's a bridge that crosses this creek, and then the race actually goes through like, they don't even let you go across the bridge. They actually bring you almost underneath the bridge and crossing that creek crossing. The question popped up in the chat room: how did you guys feel about the last 50 feet of the race making you cross a water crossing there? How was that?
I thought it was going to be deeper.
And
I was
longer.
looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah. After the steps that we had to climb up and the stupid last 2 miles, the water was no big deal.
Yeah.
Actually,
there's like 800 stairs or something.
It was
could have been
ridiculous.
higher and then finish line on the other side, and I would have ran through it. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Just to kind of put things in perspective, these two women ran the third and fourth fastest female times ever on the course, with a 14:29 and a 14:42 respectively. Bethany Patterson came in first, blazingly fast. How did it feel to cross that finish line, Bethany, with the race behind you, first place, and a golden ticket in your hand?
I've kind of been. Today's been kind of fun. It was hard to get any work done because everybody was like texting me and different stuff. And so it's not a reality yet. I mean, I wanted this more than I wanted something in a long time. And that's kind of what kept me going the whole second half was, think of all the time you put into this. Think of what your family has sacrificed to let you train. Think of what a blessing it is to be out here, to be able, whether or not you feel bad or not. We had some gorgeous views. We were on beautiful trails. I'm not injured. I'm able to do this. Last year I'd battled kind of a lingering hamstring problem, and so the fact that I was able to be out there was just a huge blessing. And I wanted to appreciate that. Regardless, so it's funny that Maggie had said kind of her feelings in the first half of the race, because that's exactly how I felt. When it wasn't going well, and I felt that everyone else was running stronger than I was, and I kind of had to accept that maybe it wasn't going to happen. I thought, what's the bigger picture? Am I just going to not get top two and kind of feel sorry for myself, or am I going to appreciate it for what it is? And it's still an adventure. And then in the last mile, it's really technical, and so I was just thinking, don't break anything so that you can actually finish this thing. Because you really could. And I was like, if I break an ankle, I'm going to have to roll across the finish line. She's going to beat me. This is going to be terrible. What am I going to tell everybody? So I was just trying, and then I was just trying not to fall in the creek.
And what about you, Maggie? I mean, you worked so hard throughout this race, dug deep, managed to pass Sarah. You pulled into second place with a 14:42. What was going through your mind those last couple of miles, and how does it feel to grab that golden ticket?
Well, I saw David Horton and Dylan at like 2 miles to go. That last little part, they were standing by that little unmanned aid station, and they were like, I was like, all right, I'm about to get second, but I'm not trying to like think that I am, because anything can happen. Like Bethany said, you fall down and someone will just step over you and like.
Yes.
So I was like, all right, just keep going, because we still had like 600 stairs to climb at that point. I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
no big deal.
But Dylan yelled "Golden Ticket" or "Western States" or something, and I raised my fist to yell something, and I turned around to look at them both, and I went flying on some rock. It wasn't even, it was just like a flat gravel path, and my calf cramped up, and I was like, no. I think I dropped an F-bomb, and then I got up and I just started running faster because I was like, oh no, don't do anything stupid. So took it easy on the step. Like I powered through the steps, but I was like, don't fall backwards, don't fall on your face. Just trying to like hold it together. Well, I also didn't realize like Jen had dropped out, so I was like, what if she's still running strong? I didn't know where she was. Yeah,
I didn't know she had dropped out either. And to add on to that, I had kind of heard. You get into the park where we finish, and you actually, before you have the 2 miles of hell, you run right by the finish line. So, you can hear people. And I had heard that Maggie, that was the first time I'd heard Maggie had been gaining on me on the road. I heard at one point she was like only 4 minutes behind. So the whole time, it's dark at this point, and the whole time going up the stairs, I'm just looking back, trying to see if I can see her headlamp, and then I'm like, wait. If I turn around, she's going to see my headlamp. So I'm trying to cover my headlamp. It's so stupid. And you're also trying not to fall or anything, because there was a lot of stairs. So it was really interesting. I really didn't feel like it was actually going to happen until I was crossing the string. And then I just I didn't even run. You have like 10 feet to run through the finish line, and I just kind of walked and, okay, I can relax now. And then I was just waiting, and then I heard, and I didn't know who was behind me, who was going to finish behind me. And I heard it was Maggie coming in, so I wanted to wait at the finish line for her to get there. But I was also about to throw up again, so I was trying to wait to like congratulate her and then go puke in the woods. Fun times.
That's why you were gone so quick.
Exactly.
Thanks for waiting. Thanks for waiting.
Yeah.
And not throwing up on me.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't see that part. Yeah.
I think Andy Jones Wilkins actually posted a picture of you puking
He did.
somewhere. Whether it was
that was later.
It was later.
Yeah.
Good.
That was after. That was like the third. Yeah, he's great. He's awesome.
Well, huge congratulations, because you both earned yourselves a golden ticket to Western States. Basically, one of the biggest races, biggest 100-miler on the planet. Very competitive race. The question's been going on in the chat room. I'm very curious about this. When does training begin? What are the strategies between now and Western States? Will you be racing other races? Will you be just focusing on building volume or focusing on speed? Basically, the plans have to change because you got Western States on your calendar now. So how is that going to play out for both of you? Maggie, let's start with you.
I was keeping my plans kind of question mark. So now, I mean, I only had I'm going to do a local PA race. It's kind of more west called Heiner. Well, I thought I was signed up for the 50K. It's called Heiner View Challenge. But apparently I signed up for the 25K, so maybe that was a good accident. So I'll just do the 25K. It's like April 23rd.
Okay.
So it's like, not super my distance, but it's a really great course, and I want to run it. And then I'm just running a Broad Street with Achilles International with the young guy that I guide through Achilles, the 10-mile race in Philadelphia. He's pretty quick, so we're going to try to do like 70 minutes or something. But that's nothing, no ultras.
No ultras. Are you focusing on speed or build or like anything like that? Or are you going to kind of just ride it out with your training already fairly dialed?
I'm going to talk to my coach. I'm just kind of recovering and enjoying this for this week, and then we'll figure it out. And I think she has something in mind for me, but not sure yet. So I'll just do what she has mapped out for me because it's been working.
It seems to work. Yeah, it seems to work pretty damn well.
What about you, she had me walk backwards on a treadmill last time, like on an incline. I was telling Bethany, and I was like, "You want me to do what? Like, I will do that. I'll do whatever." It's totally working.
It must have worked because you did great on the hills, so it obviously worked.
What about you, Bethany? What's the plan?
Yeah, so I'm kind of the same way. Like you sort of hope that this is going to be the outcome, but you don't know. So I haven't really signed up for anything. In fact, I was trying to figure out when it was not going well. What was I going to do if I didn't get a golden ticket? Like I had no plans for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to go crawl in a hole and not sign up for any races or something.
I think you talked about retiring.
I think I did. I think I did mention that at some point. No, I don't really know as far as races. I probably won't do a lot. I don't think it's beneficial to do too much. And actually, the training for this race is a really good build-up for Western States. And we just ran a 70-mile race, so that's also a great training thing. So there is a 50K in Lynchburg that I do every year. It's a David Horton race, Promised Land 50K. It's my favorite one. It's beautiful, has good climbs, good downhills, so it's good for building up your quads. And I'll probably do that. I don't know if I'll race it or just use it as training. And then other than that, for me, I need to work on running. I'm not that good of an actual runner, so, and Western States is a very runner's course. So I got to get faster to keep up with these ladies.
And I know that a big part of Western States is crew. Surrounding yourself with the right people, the right pacers, and that sort of thing. Did anything you learned from this last weekend at the Georgia Death Race, did any of that contribute to strategies coming towards Western or anything like that, Maggie?
I was actually thinking about that today, funny enough, because like the Georgia Death Race, the aid stations are far apart, and 9 miles of Georgia takes a lot longer. It can take 2 hours, or more. And plus we had to carry a lot of stuff. So, the aid stations at Western are really close together. So you got to be in and out because you could lose a lot of time looking for stuff and not having things ready or a game plan or something. So I'll have more than one crew person with me, I think. I think a couple people has helped because Bethany's crew was helping me. Like She would come through, and they would. What? I mean,
I'm just kidding.
It's all friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, you know, they
I'm gonna
probably
have to talk to them. Wait a second. I'm gonna have to talk to them about this. They didn't tell me they were helping you.
And they gave me all their secrets. They're like, oh yeah, she looks terrible. Go get her.
Yeah. So Bethany, are you firing and hiring a new crew for Western?
Well, so I learned that it's a bad idea to have David Horton and Andy Jones-Wilkins hang out together because we see them at two spots, right? At this race we saw them at mile 28 and mile 47. So first aid station was fine. You know, I didn't really need anything because I was feeling terrible anyway. But mile 47, I come in and we're gaining on Sarah at that point, so I wanted to be kind of quick. And AJW was there, and I'm kind of looking around. I'm like, oh, that's weird. You know, Dr. Horton isn't here. Where did he go? Whatever. And I didn't really think about it. I just took off down the road, and then like 2 minutes later, he comes riding down on his bike. Well, he had taken Andy over to Springer Mountain on the AT, and they were playing while we're in the race, and I guess we got there quicker than they expected. So they weren't. So we got to work on some technicalities. Yeah. And Andy, I don't know. He says he's going to help me at Western, but you know that's his little baby. We'll see what happens when he gets out there. I don't know if he can control himself. He might be all over the place. So I, like the very next day, I was texting a friend of mine saying, "All right, are you on board? Are you going to come out to California with me and stuff?" So I have some ideas. Well, yeah.
He turns into a celebrity at Western States.
Exactly.
So don't expect to get a lot of time with Andy there because he's in the spotlight.
I know. He's trying. He's trying to reassure me, and I don't know if I believe him. So.
I'm sure he'll be just fine. Now he's got a prize fighter in the big race, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly, a huge congrats to both of you. Only being able to witness the race through social media and from afar, it both sounded and looked incredibly tough, grueling, and it sounds like the race played out like a blast.
Yeah.
So a huge congratulations to both of you. Maggie and Bethany, those of you who are watching live, give them some big congratulations because golden ticket holders right here. Maggie with a wonderful second place and Bethany with a kick-ass first place at the Georgia Death Race. You're both first-time guests on the show, and I'm always excited to do this with first-time guests before we move into the post-show, but I have a very quick, simple list of questions.
Okay.
It's called the Quickie Question Quiz. I just rapid-fire them at you, and you just come up with the first answer that comes to your mind. It's very, very easy. And since we have two of you, I'll start with Maggie and then Bethany. So I'll ask the question, and then Maggie, you answer, and then Bethany goes. So Maggie, you let me know when you're ready, and I will just fire through the questions.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your very first race?
Oh, Broad Street, 10-miler in Philly.
Bethany?
Holiday Lake 50K in Lynchburg, outside of Lynchburg.
Favorite running movie?
I
gotta say Unbreakable, J.B. Benna.
Shout out to J.B. Benna and to Jen Benna. Jen Benna, get better. We know that you hurt your leg during the race. Yeah, heal up, get better.
Yes.
Bethany, what about you?
Chariots of Fire, by far. Favorite movie.
Trails or road? Maggie, trails or road?
Trails.
Beth?
Trails all day long.
Your favorite place to run? Maggie, what's your favorite place right now?
Realistically, I mean, I love running at Valley Forge, but I mean, there's a million other amazing places to run.
What about you, Bethany?
So I'm in Richmond, Virginia, and about an hour away we have some good trails in the Blue Ridge. I'm wearing my shout out to our little crew here. We have a road called Jarman's that we do a lot of running on. So that's kind of my go-to, I would say.
Nice. What about bucket list races, Maggie?
Western States.
Nice. Bethany?
3. So Western States, Hard Rock, UTMB.
The big 3.
Oh, yeah.
What is your guilty pleasure TV show?
I mean, Walking Dead, I guess.
Didn't see the most recent episode. Heard it gets crazy. Bethany?
We don't have cable, so I don't really watch TV. YouTube running movies on the treadmill. Really.
That'll do it. All right, this is a more spiritual question. Up high and see forever, or deep forest, sound of water?
Up high, see forever. That's
yep. Same.
Favorite pre-race meal?
Salmon.
Ooh, pizza.
What?
Sorry, I know.
That is my kind of pre-race meal.
Yes.
What is your favorite post-race indulgence?
Whatever I feel like eating. without thinking about it, like, I don't know.
Calories, straight
Pickles.
up calories.
Actually, I like eating pickles after. They're 0 calories, but
Oh my
sometimes I like
gosh.
pickles. A jar of pickles.
Wow. A big, juicy, greasy burger.
Nice. And
Yeah.
finally, what are your current running kicks?
I wore the topos, actually, the Run Ventures during Georgia Death Race. I think I'm starting to like them.
Nice.
Yeah. Pearl Izumi. Someone got me onto them about 2 years ago, and it's the only shoe I've worn since. Love them.
Nice. That is it. It was that easy. The questions are very simple, and you both passed with flying.
We passed?
Congratulations.
Yes.
Full passing, full
Sweet.
grade. So for those of you who are watching live, thank you for tuning in tonight. We're going to do a quick post show with both Maggie and Bethany, where I know there's a couple questions that didn't get asked, so I'm going to be rapid firing those to them as well. But before we get to the post show, Maggie, where can people find you on social media? Where can they follow you and give you a shout out and ask questions that maybe they didn't get asked tonight?
Yeah, my blog, I forget what the link is now, actually, but I haven't posted in a really long time. I will put one up about this for sure. And I'm at Magatron Runs on Instagram and Twitter.
And Bethany, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm kind of old school, so I should start a blog one of these days.
People can write your letters or send you postcards.
I'm seriously.
Give their address. Their mailing address. You can send Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram at Patterson Runs. Yeah, one of these days I'll catch up with social media.
She'll be at Forest Hill Aid Station at some point.
We can talk.
In the Western States. So yeah,
exactly.
Just stop by.
Exactly.
Well, wonderful to have you ladies on. Just incredible to experience the race from afar. I can only imagine what it was like in person. Huge performances, badasses through and through. If you were watching live, follow them on social if they are on social, but make sure that you show them some love and shout them out because they're badasses, and it was awesome to hear from them tonight. Thank you for tuning in tonight to Ginger Runner Live at 6 p.m. Pacific every Monday, as usual. Next Monday, Sally Bergson, the founder of Wazelle, will be on the show. Very excited. We're going to talk to her about a whole bunch of really awesome things and some not so awesome things that are going on with the Olympics. I don't even know if I can say the word Olympics at this point. It's called Rule 40. We're going to talk to her about that and a whole bunch of really amazing things. Very excited for next week's show. So tune in next Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But stick around right now because we're going to do a quick post show with both Maggie and Bethany on tonight's show, both holders of the golden ticket going to Western States. Very excited about that. So stick around, guys. We're going to ask them a couple more questions. Here we go.
Awesome.
Ginger Runner. Awesome. So this is the post show. We are still live. This is the even more laid back casual version of Ginger Runner Live, where if you are still watching live and you have some questions that did not get asked, now would be a great time to kind of rapid fire through them. We have a couple that my wonderful wife, who is also in the chat room pulling questions, decided to send me. So I'm going to pull those up right here. This one came from Kimosabe75, a regular viewer of the show. What's up, Kimosabe? This is a question for both Maggie and Bethany. Do you two do back-to-back long runs, or how do you get yourself to feel good late in a race? Kind of more on training strategy.
Maggie, you want to go or you want me to go?
You go.
All right. I mean, specifically for Georgia Death Race, I didn't do any doubles. I probably will before Western. But for me, it was just kind of cumulative. Like, I've had a really good last year and a half of training, so everything kind of just built. But lots of climbing, lots of downhills. I mean, each week I was trying to get around like 10,000 feet of climbing. and hopefully some of that downhill as well, just so my legs would feel pretty good. Had a couple of runs that I felt pretty good. I ran hard and my quads felt good. So towards the end, for me, it was more trying to focus on my speed and actual running than climbing.
What about you, Maggie?
Yeah, I don't do doubles anymore. Michelle kind of changed that for me, so I do usually he'll work out Saturday and then like an easy long run Sunday. But a lot of it is, I feel like the majority of my training is like this speed work with strength right after it, so it just destroys your legs. And that I think has really helped. That's what helped my legs last on all those, the climbing in the beginning and still be able to run at the end.
Yeah.
Who's your coach? Maggie, who's your coach?
Oh, Michelle Yates.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was gonna. You said Michelle, and I was like, oh, is it Michelle Yates? Yeah, she's been on the show.
Yeah.
Fantastic runner. Just
Yeah.
Nice. What were you gonna say, Bethany?
No, I was going to say that Maggie is a total sandbagger because she was telling me before the race that, I hope my quads can hold up. I hope I can keep up with you. And then she's like killing it in the second half of the race. I'm like, whatever. She's totally fine.
I wasn't. That was legit. I was like, I don't know. Cause
I know.
Like 20,000 feet in one race is more than I've ever done. So I was like, just happy. Like I kept telling myself in my head, like, this is what the training's for.
Yep.
Just like amazed. I told Bethany the day after, I'm like, my quads aren't that sore, my legs don't feel that crazy. She's like, just wait. The next day.
Yeah.
I got out of bed. I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
How are they feeling today?
Sore.
Yeah.
Appropriately sore.
Yes. Not destroyed, but
Yeah.
It'll go away. It'll pass. You'll be back to training ASAP. A crucial question from Zev Robbins. Pancakes, waffles, or French toast? Crucial question.
Pancakes.
Definitely pancakes.
Waffles.
See,
the correct answer was waffles.
Darn it. We failed. Man, we failed again.
I want to retest.
I'm actually really curious, just because Western takes place at altitude, you're dealing with different sorts of altitude issues. You start high, you finish lower, but still high. On the East Coast, the Beast Coast, where are you going to train, or how are you going to train to get the altitude in your legs?
I haven't really thought about that. So, I ran part of Western a long time ago, and that's the one thing that I do remember was the first half, just how bad I felt, I think partially because of the altitude. I don't know, might try to track down an altitude tent or something. We'll see, or just take it for what it is and start off slow and deal with it. Because you kind of do go down the rest of the race. So I think if you can hang on at the beginning, it's not super high. So I don't know, haven't thought that far ahead.
What about you, Maggie? Altitude stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I do okay, like, altitude-wise. I mean, I went out to Colorado a couple weekends before the Georgia Death Race to hang out with Michelle, do some training, and, I mean, it kills you. Your calves, you feel so out of shape, but, I mean, you can, who knows, maybe that will help us out because it'll keep us at a lower intensity for the beginning part of the race, and, I don't know, maybe... I work for Nathan Sports. Maybe they'll give me 2 weeks off to go train in the mountains up there. A
little hint.
Get acclimation in there.
Nice.
That's a hint for Nathan, isn't it? You're going to send it to your boss. Hey, boss, check out this interview I did, specifically minute 102. We have an appearance from JB Bennett in the chat room, a filmmaker, fantastic dude, saying, just wanted to say thanks to Bethany and Maggie for such a classy race. It was the first time in a while that I saw that true ultra spirit. Jen and I were honored to spend time with such classy ladies. So shout out to JB and to Jen again. Yes. Heal up, Jen. We know you'll be back to kicking major ass very, very soon.
Yes.
And then we had more talk on the pancakes, waffles, and French toast front. To quote a past guest, this is from Tim Jarus, a frequent viewer of the show as well. To quote a past guest, I love all my children, pancakes, toast, and waffles. They're all heavenly. Yes, that is true. They're all very good, deliciously baked goods. Great question, actually, that kind of dovetails into nutrition. Did you do anything specific for nutrition during Georgia Death Race? Will you be doing the same for Western? I'm assuming it worked well. But what do you do for nutrition?
Yeah, I failed at nutrition at this race. So I did everything wrong. I don't know why. So I'm, as you can tell by my old school, I'm not on social media. I'm kind of I take it as it comes kind of thing, which is not ideal. So when we started the race, I realized that I hadn't packed. We had to carry all this stuff, and I guess I just didn't pay attention. So I didn't have any S caps with me. It was actually a really hot day, so I didn't have any until about mile 28, which did not help. And this time I tried to start with solid food and then switch to gels in the second half. Problem was none of that sat well, so I couldn't eat the gels when it was time to eat the gels. So basically at the aid stations, Andy was laughing at me because he said I came in. Actually, Maggie, I will say your crew helped me too because Dylan gave me some Pepto tablets. I forget which aid station, somewhere. And I came in and I'm like, I can't eat anything. My stomach feels terrible. And so I was like eating pickles. I was having Pepto. I was just grabbing, I don't know, ginger ale, whatever. I actually went through a list of things that I did wrong that hopefully I'll take care of. So, and I don't know if Maggie was the same, but I was basically surviving on the end with Coke and a little bit of a gel that I would eat for like an entire hour.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I held it in my hand.
The same nutrition plan.
It was great. I learned I will never eat Snickers again during a race, which I tried, and that was terrible. No candy bars for me.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that was a thing that worked for you before, and I was like, that's so weird. And I saw you whip out a Snickers at like mile 15. I was like, she's not kidding. Yeah,
that was the last time, and then I threw them away at the next aid station. They were terrible. So, I'll have to dial it in somehow. I think, and I drank straight water, and I think next time I'll do something more like Tailwind and stuff, which I've done in the past. I kind of got away from here for some reason, and yeah. We'll have to try some. And I think, we talked about some stuff. Andy drove down with me, and so we had a long 7-hour car ride coming back to Virginia, so we were kind of talking different stuff. So we'll see. Have some time to figure it out.
Nice. What about you, Maggie? What did you do as far as nutrition? Did you just throw in like Pepto-Bismol and pickles?
No. I mean, I had a plan, actually.
It was terrible.
That sounds like a really bad combination. Like, I actually had a plan I even emailed my coach a nutrition plan ahead of time, which I never do, but like, I mean, I was running out of things to do in my paper time, and she's given me advice on like eat little bits at a time, and I don't really do like doing solid food, but it's a lot of climbing. So I think I was pretty good in the beginning part, like the first quarter of the race. But then, I mean, towards the second half, you just put anything in your mouth and you gag right away. So it was like the solid food is out. Yeah. So I think I did Tailwind, but it's hard because you don't see your crew that often, so you can't just get pre-mixed bottles of Tailwind handed to you, and I'm not messing around with those packs. Yeah. In the middle of the woods, like it's just like, but Tailwind and gels and Coke will probably be good. Yeah. That's probably not. There's a lot of sugar. Yeah. But I mean, that was pretty much your I guess your parachute at the end of the race. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I'll say the one thing that I did plan is I had cut out caffeine for a couple weeks beforehand. I love my coffee, and so I'd stop with the coffee. My plan was I had some gels with caffeine that I was going to wait until at least halfway, and I come into the 28-mile aid station, and I felt so bad. I'm like, give me my gels. I just want my gels. So Andy was laughing at me. I grabbed like 5 caffeinated gels, put them in my pack, and I was just pounding them and stuff. And he was like, well, I guess she's not waiting on those. And I was like, I need something. Because if I don't feel better in the next 10 miles, there is no rest of the race. And that actually really helped. That was at mile 28. So I had a gel, had some ibuprofen, don't hate me, and some other stuff. And then like 3 miles later, when that kind of settled in, it gave me a boost, and it was good from there. So that's the one thing that I did well. Everything else was a fail.
I think it worked out all right.
Yeah, someone even in the chat room was like, apparently the new strategy is to just bomb your nutrition because you go off for 30 miles and then get first place and get into Western States. So it seems to work. Yeah. But no, that's going to be great. You've got plenty of time between now and Western to figure out if Pepto and pickles works.
Hey, I am open to ideas. Anything.
So this is a question that I didn't realize was a thing. Did you have to carry the railroad spikes the whole race?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, once you wrapped it up in the stuff that's in your bag, we had to carry so much other stuff. I didn't even know it was there. Like,
yeah. If
That's
you
interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, he hands you when you check in the morning. He handed us, and it wasn't like a new railroad spike. You hand it, and your hand is then covered with grease. And it's like an actual railroad spike.
you have to go get a tetanus shot immediately.
Yes, exactly.
The perk is that you get to keep it if you finish, essentially.
They give you a
new one.
Well, I wouldn't say new.
No.
It's engraved.
It's
still
one.
old and dirty. It's just engraved.
Yes. He has a coffin at the finish line. So you cross the finish line, you take out the old spike, throw it in there, and he hands you your new dirty railroad spike. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool. It sounds like there's some really amazing traditions there, including snakes at the race briefing, which
apparently.
Apparently that's
that was out of hand.
Well, again,
Python comes out of a bag.
Yeah. Seeing the pictures in the video of that's like, no.
Yeah.
But really, thank you both very much for being on the show tonight. Again, a huge congratulations to both of you. It's going to be really exciting to see at Western. I wish you the best of luck there. I know you guys are going to kick ass. I can't wait to see what happens at States. We'll see you guys in Squaw, which is amazing to be able to say that. So, again, congratulations to Bethany and Maggie, Western States qualifiers and golden ticket holders. Yay. And for, again, everyone watching live, next Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific, you know the drill. We'll see you then. And thank you very much for watching tonight. And subscribe to the channel. And if you would like to help keep the lights on and the mics hot, go to patreon.com/thegingerrunner. Every little bit counts and helps out here considerably. So consider joining the Patreon crew there. We'll see you guys next week, next Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's it. Good night. Bye.
Good night. Bye.